All right, hey now, it's the Rob from 1061.
Rob, wait.
What?
This is post to post. We got to do something big, something out there.
What were you thinking?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Town Square Media and 1061 KISS FM proudly bring to you your podcast champions of the world. He's the R to the O to the B. I'm STEVE. We are your hosts with the most, bringing you everything wrestling related from post to post.
Hey, now it's the Rob from 1061 KISS FM. Here as always with my tag team partner in podcasting.
Hey guys, it's me, Steve, sports contributor to 1061 evansville.com.
Welcome to our Tuesday edition, our Raw review from last night's Monday Night Raw. Yep. By the way, who knows what we'll do, once SmackDown starts going live. I wonder if we'll have a Wednesday edition or we'll have to figure stuff out.
We may need our own brand extension. Have posts and then two posts.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do. We'll have to figure out what our schedules can do for videos accommodating that. But at least there'll be stuff to talk about, you know.
Hopefully.
Unlike Raw last night. So last night's Raw, in my opinion, didn't give us a whole lot to talk about. No. But strangely, I took an awful lot of notes during the show, and I'll take you through what I wrote down. I feel like the show had a few things working against it. Number one is that we're in this weird kind of moratorium phase between the draft, or waiting till the draft, I think I'm using that word properly, and where they're just kind of not doing anything. They're kind of afraid to start any new angles or really put any finishing touches on existing ones because I'm not sure if anyone knows who's going to wind up where, including the people writing the show. Yeah, so they're not really doing much new to entice the audience right now. There's one exception, and I'll get to that here in a little bit. But so there's that, combined with a legit holiday Raw. 4th of July doesn't always fall on a Monday. About once every 7 years it will do that. So they expect viewership to be down for the most part. And I'm assuming it probably will be, but they don't want to do a whole lot of new things on a show when people have other things going on, I feel like. So you put those two things together and you have a pretty unimportant Raw, which I would say last night's show was. But like I said, it was not necessarily a bad show. I wouldn't call it a great one. What would you say about the quality of the show last night?
I'd say it was entertaining, but as far as storyline, again, it's just a filler show. And they had the theme of 4th of July to kind of get them through. So.
What's bothering me is that it seems like we're going to have like 4 weeks of these, quote, filler shows. Yeah. And that's frustrating to me, but I wish that they would, either a better plan when they're doing the draft or just, I wish I wasn't getting these filler episodes because that's what I feel like we're getting right now.
They should have an idea of what they're doing so they can lead into that, even though we're not supposed to know. Yeah,
so I agree with you. So let's go ahead and talk about the food fight at the beginning of the show. A food fight to me is the definition of phoning it in when it comes to wrestling angles. Yeah. It's like a last resort for it's a holiday and we have nothing we can think of to do, so let's have them throw food at each other. This one I thought felt particularly old school with some of the gimmicks being displayed, some of the goofy camera angles that didn't make any sense. Most especially Kevin Owens getting the pie in the face. Did you see that camera angle? Yeah. What makes no sense at all.
It's almost like the cameraman smacked him in the face with the pie.
It made no sense at all. But that to me is old school. That's like, when food fights broke out in the 1980s, it kind of felt like. Yeah. It wasn't a bad food fight, but it was just a food fight. I can't say it was a good segment because it was a food fight.
Yeah, they almost should have surprised us and not had a food fight.
Yeah, that would have been the surprise, exactly. So that I felt like it is what it is. I almost... I was going to call it a necessary evil, but that's not fair. It's not necessary to have this crap. Yeah. So there's that. After that, I was very excited to see what I just mentioned in the Remember When video from last week, red, white, and blue ropes.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
That, to me, I think they should stick with that.
Yep.
I don't know why they ever got rid of them, but I love the red, white, and blue ropes.
Yep.
I couldn't tell... Those turnbuckle pads look new to me. I don't know if they've had that logo on them the whole time or if I just haven't been thinking clearly.
I'll have to go back and look because I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Maybe it was just because the red, white, and blue ropes I was paying so much attention. Just looking at those ropes made me happy.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see the red, white, and blue ropes, but I don't expect them to stick around, sadly. Okay, Titus and Rusev. Oh. They have been having the same match week after week after week, including a pay-per-view. How many times are we supposed to get excited for this match?
I'm hoping we don't have to anymore.
But this time, he's dressed like Apollo Creed. I mean, Uncle Sam. This is why is that more exciting to me? You have to kind of, when you have a feud, it doesn't just mean they fight every week.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to have stuff happen.
Yeah.
And they're forgetting that with this angle, right? Like, nothing's happening.
Yeah, nothing.
They just fight.
Other than the interaction with the kids in the last pay-per-view, I mean, nothing.
Yeah, but that was the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You know, like, they're supposed to do something special there. So, yeah, I kind of wish, like, they're kind of suffering from that Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin syndrome. Yeah. In that there's no storyline here. They just fight week after week after week. That's not a good angle to me.
And I don't necessarily blame the wrestlers for that. It's more the writing.
That's not necessarily their fault. Yeah, I agree with you there. They are really trying to. You can really tell with some of the matches they're doing. They are afraid to start anything new. They're just holding us over until this draft. I thought, my goodness, maybe other people aren't impressed because I do know other people who can do it as easily as Enzo did it last night. But him reciting all the presidents in order.
Oh, yeah.
I am so impressed when people can do that. Can you do that?
No.
No, I can't do it either. Like, I think starting at, like, Kennedy going backwards, I can maybe do it from JFK.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is, that to me, I'm proud of myself for being able to maybe do that. And don't even quote me, because if you quiz me on it now, I'm not even positive I could do it. But going from the beginning to the end, but I remember one time I was at a party and my uncle could do it. And I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed by that.
Yeah, and he did it live. I mean, so
with like,
with
and not only that, it was in like, I don't want to call it a song, but it was in like a routine. It was like, it was just really fluid.
Yes.
I was just impressed. So not only that, they're giving us impressive content week after week after week. And I want to say that I was never ever down on Enzo and Cass.
Yeah.
I wanted them to make sure they didn't fall into the common pitfalls that teams like that can fall into. Happy to report, they are not. They are nailing it every time.
Yeah, and they're reaping the rewards of that. I mean, we saw them 3 times last night.
3 times, that's
even
right.
With the Sonic commercial.
Whatever, that's cool. And I really thought they found a good spot with John Cena, too.
Oh, I loved it. I actually marked out for that. I mean,
yeah.
It's like they're the Northeastern guys. I know they're like Bronx, Brooklyn, and he's Boston, but still, I think they fit together really well.
Yeah, no, I thought that it made a lot of sense.
Yes.
And they are maybe the most over guys on the show right now. The crowd loses their mind when we see them.
Yes.
One small thing, again, this is not their fault at all. I feel like they're always in the second segment because the opening segment's usually a promo or a storyline thing. And then I feel like they're the first people out the gate. I kind of wish they would change that up a little bit. You know, seeing them later in the show was more exciting to me. And I feel like when they're that big of a draw, let's wait a little bit, not always have them out in the beginning of segment number 2, but whatever. There's that. 2 thumbs up to Enzo and Cass. You guys are killing it.
Real fast, if you follow Enzo on Instagram, he does a thing called Monday Night Sneaker Watch. Because if you notice, every Monday his sneakers are new.
I have not noticed, but I'll keep my eyes peeled for that.
Yeah.
What I noticed about his attire most is the poop emoji on his butt. Well placed. I don't know why I like that, but I do. They took on, it was the Social Outcasts.
Yes.
And my one thought was, because they kept showing, who was playing the flute? Was it Axel or was it
Slater?
Slater.
Because he's injured.
Right, yeah, that's what it was. It was fake injured, right?
I think it's legit. I mean, because it didn't go with the rest of his costume.
Didn't he get thrown through the table during the food fight? I assume that's what the injury was for. Who went through the table?
Oh, it may have been. I don't know.
That's what I thought that was. I mean, if he had a real injury...
It just stood out to me because it didn't match his outfit.
No, I think that's what it was referring to. I think that's what that was about.
Okay.
I thought that it would make a lot of sense to have the flute versus the trombone. I would have had Social Outcast versus New Day and maybe played off that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like when it gets too corny with the the over the top outfits and it's 4th of July, so we're gonna dress these idiots up like the founding fathers or whatever.
Yeah.
But it led to that amazing promo from Enzo, so I'm not complaining. Every time they run a promo for the CWC, the Cruiserweight Classic, I mark out. I am excited for this thing. Are you excited?
Oh, yeah, I'm very excited.
I will be watching this. In fact, maybe we can keep you posted on this because I feel like this is must-see TV for me. I'm even tuning in for the bracketology tomorrow where they're breaking down all the competitors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I am super stoked for this. So you're on board with this? You'll be watching?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I thought that all 3 ladies involved in the first women's segment, they looked really good last night. They looked kind of elegant and classy. I'm talking about Charlotte, Dana and Sasha.
Okay.
They all had like their little black dresses on and kind of looked good. Dana is still really awkward to me.
Yeah, she needs to hide her Adam's apple.
Is that what it is? Maybe that's what's bothering me. She here's a weird piece of advice that I'd want to give to her if I were working with her as like a writer or something. A lot of times you want to take their character and, as they say, turn the volume to 11. I think that Dana needs to turn the volume down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because Dana, I feel like, is trying really, really hard in the ring that it doesn't look natural. And then when you put her in the ring with Charlotte and Sasha, two great female athletes, she shows her butt.
Yes.
She really does.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that she's awful because I'm not... I think she is, but I'm not sure that she is.
I think she is.
She might be, but she needs to just stop trying so hard, I feel like, and be a little more natural.
Yes.
She's always like doing stuff with her face and her hands. She's like working too hard.
Yes. Yeah, as I've said since I've seen her, that she's trying too hard.
I really believe that. So that's my thought there. What else do I have? I thought at first teasing Dean on the Spanish commentary was a nice touch.
Yeah.
I was glad he came over to the English commentary so we could enjoy him. But like throughout the commercial, we kind of assumed he was doing Spanish commentary.
Yes.
I was like, that's hysterical. So I enjoyed that. I thought that more so than ever, last night, Dolph Ziggler is looking like a mid-90s Shawn Michaels, at least in his attire. If you look at his attire last night and compare it to Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 95 when he had the ladder rematch with Razor Ramon, it's like replace the hearts with skulls and you've got the same exact attire.
Yeah, and that's to his detriment right now.
Why do you say that?
Trying to emulate another superstar opposed to be his own.
That's a fair criticism, although I will say that mid-90s Shawn Michaels may have had my favorite attire of all time.
Oh, I love the attire.
Love those broken...
Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
No one else should try and be Shawn Michaels.
That's a good point. Absolutely. I feel like Vicky Guerrero was forced and expected.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. At least they kept her to a minimal as opposed to the other guys who had multiple segments.
Yes, thank you for that.
We've just been counting on the days, though, till Vicky. So they actually pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah.
I just don't like this. I don't like the podiums there. I don't like anything that comes with rehashing the old GMs. They weren't good when they were here in the first place. Although Eric and I used to disagree on that. He thought Vicky was an asset. I did not.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, she was not.
I did not like her very much. To me, I thought that when Goldust came out, it looked to me as if he ran out of face paint. He had too much exposed in the back, where usually it's painted.
Yeah.
Whether gold or black, he looked to me like he ran out of paint.
Yeah, I mean, now that you say that, it definitely did.
So that's what I thought about Goldust. I thought the remix version of their theme songs with the bouncing Goldust head was a nice touch, I suppose. These Darren Young segments, I know I keep addressing them, and I'm probably thinking more into them than I should. My thoughts about them haven't changed. I do want to say, while I hate the segments, if this results in a revival of the crossface chicken wing as a legit finisher, I love that move. I love it as a finisher. I think it gives a great opportunity for a victim to sell a story with their face.
Only if Darren Young will do it as crazy as Backlund did.
Backlund was the man. And because when I first started watching wrestling, remember, I started watching Summer 2004, SummerSlam specifically.
Yeah.
So the first pay-per-view I ever had a full build towards was Survivor Series 94. And the main draw of that show was the sharpshooter versus the chicken wing.
Yeah.
And I was so terrified of that move. And if you put someone in that move in real life, it hurts like an MF. And so I really have been a big fan of that finishing move.
Yeah.
And I hope that it comes back. If it's on Darren Young, it doesn't even matter. I'll never see it. But I do love that move. Also talking about finishing moves, while I don't have, how do I want to word this? I wish Seth Rollins had his own finishing move.
Oh, yeah.
I like the pedigree. I just don't like it on him. He's such a legit star that shouldn't he have his own move?
Yeah, and I wish he'd do the curb stomp.
I love the curb stomp, but it's too dangerous.
I know they say it's not safe, but I mean, if Finn Balor can do the coup de grace, why can't he do a curb stomp? coup de grace is far worse than that.
Is that where he jumps from the top rope onto the chest?
Yeah, with both
God,
feet.
that looks dangerous too.
Yeah, exactly. If he can do that, why can't he fake a curb stomp?
Well, I will say the coup de grace does not hurt the head. You're not going to get a concussion, at least from a coup de grace. I think that's what they're concerned about, is these concussions and these head injuries. Yeah. I do agree the curb stomp is too dangerous. I thought it was phenomenal and fun to watch. Got me fired up, but I wish there was something different. Just like you mentioned about Dolph Ziggler, while at least he's ripping off the greatest, it does feel like a ripoff. Yeah. And I do know that he was kind of protéged by Triple H for a little while storyline-wise, but I feel like he should get his own finish. Yeah. Give him the chicken wing. Yeah. That would work for me. I wrote down, the club is bae. The club is so bae right now. I love AJ Styles. I love that the other guys, Gallows and Anderson, got a chance to talk. I thought they were funny, in the right kind of heel funny. I thought they did a great job. This feud with Cena, God, this is where I love him. I love him in this spot. And every time he's in a role like this, not for a championship, just in a storyline feud, not in the main event, he's gold to me.
And they just seasoned the storyline even more last night with Enzo and Cass.
Thought it was great. I thought it was a great segment. Yeah. And then what else do I have? Stop trying to make shining stars happen. Yes. It's been in my notes for the past 3 weeks. These little vignettes are not effective. This is not a team worth pushing. Why is this happening? Stop trying to make the shining stars happen. It's not going to happen. My favorite part of the night last night, in 2 words, scared Xavier.
Yes.
I don't think he walked out from the New Day. I just think he walked out on that specific segment. Yes. I don't know what they're trying, because he walked out on them, right? Yeah. I don't think it's like I'm leaving the group. I think it was just stressing the severity of what the Wyatt family is capable of, and I think that this is a feud that is going right.
Yeah. Definitely has me intrigued on where it's going from here.
Me too. Love this idea. I love the execution. Everyone is doing their job in this properly.
Yes.
And then the 16-man tag, your face just summed it up. When this happens, it's frustrating to me because I feel like in real life, a 16-man tag, if you're trying to book from reality, you'd have to leave so much time for that.
Yeah.
But they leave you like 15 minutes towards the end of the show, and it's just a finish fest, which in real life would, this match would take hours.
Yeah, the caliber of talent they have, they wouldn't be finishing in 2 and 3 minutes.
But I did like, since it was the 4th of July, I liked how it did have the USA versus the Foreigners feel. I love that it was elimination instead of one fall. Like, that was a great choice, I feel like. I greatly prefer that almost always, unless it's just a straight-up 2-on-2 match. If it's a multi-man tag like that, I like elimination.
I think you can thank 4th of July for that, because the finale, it's never just one firework. It's always multiple. Yeah. And so, 16 guys can give you that finale.
Yeah, and I also liked the War Room style promos that they had with their team leading them into the charge. So that was cool. So you know what? Now that I'm talking about it, the show could have been much worse last night. Anything that I missed? Anything you want to cover?
I think we covered everything.
I think we did. Yeah, one of our longer videos, so we'll shut up now. We'll come back again, I think on Wednesday or Thursday with some more episodes for you. We may even cover the CWC bracketology a little bit. For myself, the Rob, my tag team partner, Steve.
This is the house that Styles built.